Hello everyone, it's Mia1 and today welcome back to my channel, and we're going to be covering a new paper. But remember, on the last part there was this question that I couldn't solve. I got the solution now, so here we are. And please like, subscribe and ring that notification bell for more videos. I appreciate all the support in the series so far, and I'm continuing to make more, so please like, subscribe and ring the notification bell if you want to see more. And we are going to continue now. So the thing is, a bus starts at 8:10 from stop A and follows the roof of the city, returning again to stop A. There are another 8 intermediate bus stops. To reach from one stop to another takes 9 minutes, and at each stop the bus remains there for 1 minute. What time will the bus arrive again at stop A? Now basically, just imagine that the whole bus route, it connects back to stop A. So like, if stop A was here, it could go like this, something like that. Now basically what we're doing here is that first we can do the part where it goes to the last stop, and not to stop A but just the last stop, which means that if there's another 8 intermediate bus stops, that means there are 9 bus stops in total. And basically that means 9 minus 1, there will be 8 gaps between all of them. So 8 times 9, so because each gap takes 9 minutes, is 72. So 72 minutes. And they only have to basically pause at 7 bus stops, since we're only just saying that. What if the last stop was the 8th one there? So we can say 7 times 1 is 7, 72 plus 70 plus 7 is 79. Now if we do 79 minus 60, that's 19, which means when it goes to 9:10, since 60 minutes is an hour, there'll still be 19 minutes left, which means you can get 9:29. However, we still have to connect back to stop A, so it will take another space, which is 9 minutes. And actually that means that you have to stop at the place where there is at the 8th bus stop, which means that you add another 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. Now 9:29, sorry, let me write that 29 there. 9:29 plus 10 minutes is 9:39, which means the answer is 9:39. That's when the bus will arrive again. That's when the bus will arrive again. So that's gamma. Now we're going to the paper of 2016. This is the 17th Cyprus Mathematical Olympiad for 5th and 6th grade again. So let us start. What is the unit digit of the number A? When you look at all of these, this segment, and this segment, they all have a 0 at the end, which means that if they end in a 0, you don't have to ignore them, because we all know that they'll end in 0 in that one, because anything times 0 is 0, and if you're multiplying a number which has zeros, the same amount of zeros will be in the product, depending on how many zeros both numbers have. So, but then when we look at the last segment here, it just says 1 times 2. And if you notice, this is basically following the place value. These are the thousands, these are the hundreds, these are the tens, and then we just have the ones, or you could say the digits. So basically, at the digit is the end, so we just have to be focusing on the last segment there again. It's 1 times 2, and anything times 1 is obviously itself, which means the digit will be 2, and therefore the answer is Vita. 30 students are standing in a row. They start calling out 1, 2, and 3 1, 2, 3 from the left, and Mike calls out 13, which means if it goes like this, and then it goes all the way to Mike saying 13. If the calling starts from the right instead, what number will Mike call out? Which means it goes in opposite direction. You start with 1 at the right hand and then you go this way. So basically, when we have these kind of questions, the first thing we have to do is that we get the amount of people and minus that by the number of our person, which is Mike, so that we get 17. Now we have to add a 1, because basically if you said 17, that's basically Mike's missing, so we have to add a 1 to get 18. So therefore the method gives us the answer of alpha 18. Basically, if you want to write it as a generalized formula to help you, basically take P as the number of people minus P minus N, which is like the number of the place of where the person is, and then you just add that by 1. So P minus N plus 1. And this is only for cases like these. So therefore the answer is alpha. What is the sum of 21.5 plus 2.15 plus 0.215 plus 0.0215? This is obvious. You just have to do direct addition. You can use a column method. So anyway, for decimal column method, first we have to write out the biggest one to the smallest one, and this is already in descending order for us, so we can just write 21.5, and this all depends on the decimals. So we put the 4 decimals here, and then we'll write according to how the decimals are. You don't have to write the 0, since if there's nothing there, then we definitely know that it's a 0, but I can write that there for accuracy. Now basically we added up all the numbers that are lined up. So 5 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6, 5 plus 1 6 plus 2 8, 5 plus, and again we get 8, and then we add the decimal point here, and then 1 plus 2 3, and then we have 23. So in the end we get 23.8865. therefore eta is the answer. Now question number 4. The given figure is the net of a cube and each face is labeled with a letter. When the cube is formed, which letter is on the face opposite to the one labeled with the letter I or iota? So basically this side. Now to make a cube, we would have to raise this and raise this, which means M and S are opposite to each other. Me and sigma are opposite to each other. I'm gonna make this sign. I'm gonna make this the hyphen between them to show that they're opposite. And now basically if this goes up here, that means A is at the bottom and the base, and K goes next to M, which means that if you fold K so that it is also facing towards the direction of A, that means K will be here. And then you can just flip I upwards so it's facing A, and that means K and I are opposite, and that leaves O and alpha, which makes sense because once this is raised, this is raised as well, so it's at the top, and then they both face A, and to make the net to make the cube closed, we make O face downwards, so it's directly opposite to A, which means the answer is delta kappa. In how many ways 3 people can take a photo if they're standing in a straight line? Now remember the factorial thing. Basically here there are 3 people, so there's 3 factorial is 6. Now some questions are normally repeated, and anyways, for people who don't know this method and haven't joined in, you can just start with combinations. You can write 1 2 3, then 1 3 2, take the 2 there. 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1. Take the 3 here. 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll realize that there are no other options except for these. And basically that's because since we take the 1 as the first one, then we take the how many possible combinations there are with 1 as at the start, and then we do that with 2 at the start and 3 at the start, and then there are no other numbers. So that is the amount of possibilities. Or you could use factorials, where let's say there's n factorial, where n is the number of people or the number of things, objects there are. N factorial is basically like, let's say we have 5 factorial. You would just start with the 5 and multiply that by the numbers lower than that. So 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that's 120. Which means that basically here, when we have 3 factorial, that's 1 times 2 times 3, that's 6. So 3 factorial is 6, and basically you always get the number of combinations. That will always be the answer. So therefore the answer is delta 6. The perimeter of a square field is 600 meters. What is the area of the field in meters squared? So we know that the perimeter of a square is 4a, where a is the side of a square. Now basically, if we say 4a is 600, everything will be in meters, since this is 600 meters, so we don't have to convert it into any other unit. We can just say a is 150, since 600 divided by 4 is 150. Basically, what we just did here is we treated both sides the same. We divided both the left hand side and the right hand side by 4, and you get a is equal to 150. Now we just square it, because a squared, where a is again the side of a square, is the area of a square. So basically 150 squared is basically, if you know 15 squared, that's 225. And just add more zeros. Like if there's one, add another one. Since we're doing, like, we're multiplying the numbers together, so just double the amount of zeros there are, and then you get your answer. So the answer is gamma 22,500 meters squared. Question number 7. The figure below shows 2 scales. How many circles are needed in order to balance 6 squares? So we know a triangle is equal to 3 circles, and then 2 triangles are equal to 4 squares. Now basically 2 triangles is 2 groups of 3 circles, so 6 circles in total. So if 6 circles are the same as 4 squares, we can treat both sides the same by dividing by 2. So basically we take away one group in both of them, and we say that 3 circles is equal to 2 squares. And now it's saying to balance 6 squares, so we multiply both sides by 6. So 2 squares times 3 is 6 squares. 3 groups of 2, and that's equal to 3 groups of the 3 circles, which is basically 3 times 3, 9 circles in total. So 9 circles are needed in order to balance 6 squares. You can look at this as a ratio. Since there are 6 circles and 4 squares, that 6 is to 4. And we can simplify that by dividing both sides by 2. You get 3 is to 2. Now basically, if it's saying 6 squares, you do 2 times 3, 6. And then basically you multiply the 3 by 3 also, and you get 9. So, and since we know the corresponding side for the circles is 9, we know the answer is delta again. 8. Which of the following numbers cannot be expressed as the sum of 3 consecutive integers? Now we have 18, 24, 28, 33, and 36. As you can see here, that since consecutive integers are numbers which are in order in the number line, they are written here, and if you add them together, like basically 5 plus 6 plus 7 is 18, 7 plus 8 plus 9 is 24, 10 plus 11 plus 12 is 33, 10 plus 12 plus 13 is 36. So you can say gamma is 28. You can also find a method for this. So basically, the consecutive numbers are x plus 1, and x plus 2. If you add them all together, you get 3x plus 3. Now, when you check a number, you can do minus both sides by 3, you get 3x minus 15, divide both sides by 3, and you get x is equal to 5. Now basically, the thing is, if you get a number which is not a whole number, then that means you can't get the sum. So 3x plus 3 is equal to 28. Let's say that 3x is equal to 25. That's impossible. 25 is not divisible by 3, and they share no common divisor, which means that the answer is 28 gamma again. I prefer that the variable method is more easier, because then you don't know what number x can be, which is basically x is the first number in the sequence. Like when we did 3x plus 3 is equal to 18, the first option, we got x is 5, and as you can see here, the first number here is 5. Makes sense, right? Perfect if that makes sense to you. And if that doesn't make sense to you, if any of the questions don't make sense to you, just look at the question again, try to understand it in your own way, and I tried to explain as clear as possible. So maybe you can also just rewind the video and look at the whole explanation again. Now, question number 9. What number must be filled into the missing square so that the equality holds? So basically, you should do what you should do is that since BODMAS, the first letter is B, and B stands for brackets. So you should solve the brackets first. Or you could say BIDMAS, either way. So 2,222 plus 222 is 2,444. Now basically, if you realize 244 times, and then there's 24400. Now basically, 2,444 times 100 is 244,400. We know this because when you're doing a product, the amount of zeros in both numbers are the amount of zeros that are going to be in the product. And since we have no zeros yet, and there are 2 zeros there, that means the number we must have has to have 2 zeros, and it doesn't multiply by 2 or anything, the numbers which are not zeros, so we can say that's 100. Since anything times 1 is itself, you can add the 2 zeros, so anything times 100 is basically itself, but then you can add 2 zeros. Now since we know this is 100, it's saying something plus 7 is 100 basically. So 100 minus 7 is 93, and therefore the answer is eta. Question number 10. Given a round table with 8 balloons on it, we are given a round table with 8 balloons on it. They're marked by the Greek letters. And every 4th balloon is popped. And it's moving clockwise, which means that in the way a clock moves, so it goes this way. So it says that every 4th balloon must burst starting from alpha here. So if we carry on this procedure, what is the last balloon to burst? Okay, so let's see. We first count 1, 2, 3, 4, and we know delta's burst. So that's where it starts. Then we count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is burst. Then we count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is burst. So now we're at eta, basically. Then we count 1, 2, 3, 4. Veta is burst, so we go here. Now we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and alpha is burst, so we go here. You get the idea, right? So basically we follow on this procedure, and then after alpha we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Since there are no more, we go back to gamma, and this gets burst. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this gets burst, only leaving zeta left when we popped all of the balloons. Therefore, the answer is eta, which is zeta. Balloon zeta will be left. Now, question number 11. In the figure below, each square represents 1 centimeter. What is the ratio of the area of the triangle alpha beta gamma to the triangle alpha gamma delta? It's 1:1, which is basically saying they're equal, because that, let's look at this. So here it starts wide and it gets wider, but here it starts thinner, but then it covers up more space. And then alpha gamma delta, this triangle, it starts thinner, but then it covers up more space than alpha beta gamma delta at its base. So basically, 1 minute. That's a bit. So basically, what I'm saying is that. Oh no, that's a bit. Okay, so basically what I hope I can explain like this, but okay, let me just close this and open it again.